Hi folks, I'm John, president and founder of Response LLC. I make these little videos for YouTube to talk about how conflict de-escalation skills could have resulted in a different outcome in some of these incidences that I see in the news and in the social media and so on. I want to talk about an incident that happened May 11th in Oklahoma City. I've got the link to the story down below. Between a delivery driver, there was this incident with this delivery driver and an individual who identified himself as a homeowners association president. Basically, these delivery men had done their job and they were actually on the way out of a gated community. Now, they had been given the gate code by this resident, and they were on their way out when this individual decided to block them with his car and then demand an explanation as to what they were doing, why they were there, and blah, 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 none of which that the delivery men really had to answer. How could this whole situation have been avoided? This 37-minute video absolutely could have been avoided if, number one, the HOA president, I'll refer to him as HOA president, the Homeowners Association president, had simply taken a deep breath and really did a situation assessment. You see a fully marked delivery vehicle on the driveway leading out of the compound. They must have got in with the gate code. So if a resident is violating some type of rule and regulation for the association, well, note to self, send out another memo and tell people and remind people, hey folks, do not be giving out the gate code. Stuff like that happens, and I know memos like that go out all the time. I know I was a member of a condo association for a while, but we'll get to that here in a moment. The other thing the Homeowners Association president could have done is, upon contact with them, number one, he should never block their traffic, block their movement, forward movement, and impede them and detain them. He could have approached them and very friendly greeted them and asked these questions that he wanted answers. Chances are good, if he had been friendly and so on in the first place, they might have just simply said, well, yes, sir, we were over there seeing the Smiths around the corner. Bada boom, bada bing. But chances are, based on the fact that he just blocked their way out and all, that he was probably kind of heavy-handed on his approach with them, which of course they did not have to answer. They don't have to answer any of that. This whole thing dragged out for 37 minutes. Now, what could these guys have done different, the delivery men? Well, they could have actually called their supervisor or the resident whom they delivered to and had them come out a lot sooner. This 37, almost 40-minute video, the homeowner that they delivered to didn't come out to almost the last 5 minutes. This whole situation could have been resolved in the first 5 to 10 minutes if someone had just called the resident and said, hey, can you come out here and talk to these yahoos? They're keeping us from leaving the compound to go on our day and make other deliveries. Whole situation could have been avoided. Folks, take a deep breath, really assess the situation. And for those of you who are on condo or association boards at president or otherwise, okay, I do not remember the bylaws giving any of us on the board that much power to detain someone. Now, anyone has a right to come up to a stranger and make contact with them and say, hey, how you doing? I haven't seen you before. Are you new to the neighborhood? Blah, blah, blah. But to detain someone, this is just an example of good people not realizing the limits of their own power and authority, getting a little bit overexcited and heavy-handed and saying and doing something that escalates the situation. Again, kudos to the delivery men for letting it just play out and keeping calm as best as possible. Folks, hit the subscribe button. Stay on top of all these little videos that I come out with all these tips and comments about stuff that happens around the country and the world and how conflict de-escalation skills could have made a difference.